Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm LJ, if you're new to my channel. So today I'm going to be comparing the Pat McGrath Labs foundation to the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Wear Foundation. So I recently got my hands on this foundation. I got a lot of recommendations to try this foundation. And when I tried it out, I was like, wait a minute. First off, the formulation and the texture of the foundation seemed very similar to the Pat McGrath. I haven't used this in a minute. I'm going to compare these two today because I feel like they're very similar. And to see whether these foundations are dupes, because I really like the L'Oreal foundation and the Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath is $68 and the L'Oreal is $15. So the L'Oreal is almost 5 times cheaper than the Pat McGrath foundation. So I'm going to be doing one on one side and one on the other side. So that's what I'll be doing in this video. So if you're interested, keep on watching. But if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and join the LJ family. Also hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'. Welcome to a YouTube.
Alright, so I'm going to start off with priming my face. I'm using a primer that I've used for a long time. This is the Fenty Soft Silk Hydrating Primer. And I want to use this primer just because I want to use a primer that I'm familiar with. I don't want to try using a primer that I'm not really that familiar with and not really get to know if the foundations are comparable. So I'm applying this primer all over my skin. And because it's a hydrating primer, I'm going to let it sit for like about 2 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the Pat McGrath foundation. So like I mentioned, this foundation is $68. I'm going to apply 2 pumps of the foundation. And I feel like the foundation has a pretty good coverage. It says it's lightweight, but I feel like when I hydrate my skin, the coverage of the foundation shows. So the shade that I'm using is Medium Deep 28. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this out with a beauty blender. So the coverage of this foundation is medium. It has a natural finish and it says it's a long wearing foundation. It builds from sheer to a medium coverage foundation, which for me, I feel like it's definitely a buildable foundation. It is a long-lasting foundation and you really have to hydrate your skin in order for the foundation coverage to really show. You know, I don't think this foundation applies really well on dry skin, but once you hydrate your skin, I feel like it shows more and it covers more on the skin. This is what the foundation looks like with 1 pump. I feel like the shade works. It's for red undertones, which is neutral, but this specific shade is not like as bad just because the coverage is a sheer coverage. All right, so this is what the Pat McGrath looks like applied on my skin. It's a really good foundation. I haven't used it in a long time, but I forgot how good of a foundation it is. It's definitely a sheer to medium coverage foundation. It's definitely not a full coverage, but it covers pretty much everything that I needed to cover. So next we're gonna move on to the L'Oreal foundation. So this foundation is a 24-hour wear foundation. So I think this one would last longer than the Pat McGrath foundation because the Pat McGrath foundation doesn't claim to be 24-hour wear. So I'm going to show you guys what the L'Oreal looks like. So as you guys can see, it slides down, very similar to the Pat McGrath one, very lightweight. It's not thick. It's more so of like a very lightweight consistency. The shade that I got for the L'Oreal is 525. So I'm also going in with 1 pump of the L'Oreal foundation. So this foundation by L'Oreal is a medium to full coverage foundation. So it's quite different to the Pat McGrath when it comes to coverage. I definitely feel like this one gives me a little bit more coverage. It does say that it's also a breathable foundation, so it's not too much, like it's not too cakey. And it says it's sweat, water, and transfer resistant. And the L'Oreal foundation comes in 40 different shades, which is a lot for a drugstore foundation. And the Pat McGrath foundation comes in 36 shades. So you get a little bit more shade options with the L'Oreal foundation. All right, so this is what both foundations look like. So far, so good with the foundations. I feel like they're very similar as far as like the texture. They're both really lightweight, which is good because I'm into lightweight foundations, but I'm more so into like sheer foundations. So the Pat McGrath would be one that I would be more so into. But honestly, the L'Oreal foundation, I love the coverage of it. It's not too much. It's definitely a medium to full coverage foundation, so I feel like you can build it up to a full coverage foundation. So far, so good with both of them. I feel like they look very similar so far. It's just the shades look a bit different because this one is more golden and this one has has red undertones, which honestly is not a bad match for my skin. For some reason, most of the time I'm usually a yellow undertone, so like a warm undertone. This right here is for neutral undertones, but it matches my skin, so it's a little bit confusing. But I'm gonna go ahead and complete the rest of my face, and then I'll be back with the final look. And then of course I'll be back like after 6 hours and show you guys what both of these foundations look like after 6 hours. And I'll let you guys know if they're very similar, if I feel like the L'Oreal is a dupe for the $68 Pat McGrath foundation. So I'm gonna go ahead and complete my face, and I'll be back with the final look. All right, so here is the final look. These are what both foundations look like on a full face of makeup. So far, I honestly think that these are very, very similar, but I do want to mention a couple of differences between these foundations. So I noticed with the Pat McGrath foundation, it was a little bit more oilier, and the L'Oreal foundation was more matte than the Pat McGrath. So that's one thing I can say. I do like the shade match of the Pat McGrath better, just because I feel like it fits my skin more. It looks more natural. This one looks too golden. It's like I can see it, and I'm not supposed to be able to see the goldenness within the foundation. So I feel like the pigmentation on the L'Oreal is a little bit more, which is expected because it does say that the L'Oreal foundation is a medium to full coverage foundation, and the Pat McGrath is a light to medium coverage foundation. So I expect the foundations to be different in coverage, but I didn't expect this one to look as golden as it looks like. But I think that's because of the difference in the coverage between the foundations. So far I have about 2 hours left to wear out this foundation because I've had it on. I did go eat and come back, and before I completed this video, so I've had the foundation on for a long time. I'm supposed to have it on for 6 hours, but I've had it on for about 3 hours now. So I have about 2 hours left, and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys what the foundation looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and wear this out for 2 hours, and we'll be back to see the differences in the foundation and to determine whether the L'Oreal is a dupe for the Pat McGrath foundation. All right, so I am back after 6 hours. These are what the foundations look like. Both of them lasted a really long time, so I would say both of them are long wearing. The Pat McGrath looks like it lasted as long as the Maybelline, so I would definitely say as far as like the lasting, they're both long lasting foundations. I would definitely say the Pat McGrath kind of leaves a little bit of oils on there, which is not bad because if you have dry skin, I feel like that dewy texture feels comfortable on your skin when you're wearing foundations. But I do notice that the Pat McGrath has a little bit of oils compared to the L'Oreal, which doesn't really give me that much oils. It does claim to be an oil-free foundation. Honestly, I would definitely say these are dupes. They're dupes because they look very similar. The only thing is the coverage, and I would definitely say if you like a full coverage foundation, I would say get the L'Oreal. But if you're not somebody who likes full coverage foundations, I would say you'd like the Pat McGrath better. You might not like the price of the Pat McGrath foundation, but I would definitely say the L'Oreal is a dupe for the Pat McGrath foundation. I knew when I tried this foundation out, I was like, this looks like Pat McGrath. And I was like, the coverage is a lot, because I remember the Pat McGrath didn't have that much coverage, but I noticed that they look very similar as far as like the texture, how they feel. The shades are the only thing that are different, but it's not noticeably different. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and join the LJ family. Also hit the bell so you're always notified of a new upload. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'. You better subscribe, got it on lock, yeah. Got it on lock, yeah. We need more likes, more views, yeah. You can leave a comment too. Welcome to our YouTube. Welcome to our YouTube.